we're doing a little something different on the Rob Dibble Show, at least for the Daily Pickle. This is like a video/radio segment as I'm going external microphone here as interviewing kind of style with Rob Dibble as you have brought in several, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 10 actual legit bats from Hall of Famers, 2 Tater Torpedo Bats, 1 a practice bat.
This is the Torpedo Bat. That's their trainer that I've had for 5 years.
The trainer, right. This is nothing new. This has been, how long has Tater specifically been doing it?
Tater has been making a smaller size torpedo type bat for young kids to learn how to swing, get out in front, and hit the ball with for 10 years.
10 years.
Other companies, I know Marucci just talked about this, Louisville Slugger, they've been making similar bats for decades, and there's a metal version of this. It's called the Torpedo Bat.
Right, that's where they get the name from.
Yeah, so that's where they get the name. So they didn't reinvent this or invent this. This has been around for a long time. Now, just to discuss this, and since John's filming this, so there's 2 weak points to this bat that aren't on those bats. And one of them by the people at Tater was described to me is right here.
That is the inside portion of the bat in between the label and the handle.
So the label and the handle. So just picture me in the major leagues. Now, I've been through the minor leagues for 5 years. I get to the major leagues, and my job is to get under the label to break the bat or get it off the end of the bat to make you either pop up or hit a ground ball somewhere. That's part of my job. I don't want right here where you see the Rob Dibble Show. That is the sweetest part of a major league bat or any bat, any of these bats. That's
non-torpedo.
Right, non-torpedo. Torpedo, all they're trying to do here is they took some off the end here, and they're talking about making the sweet spot go towards the label more. And honestly, it's not a bad concept. The difficult concept about this is if we just talk about physics for a second, like a golf club, all of these, and I'll take Kirby Puckett's bat right here and just leave this one right here.
All right, to describe to the people, Kirby Puckett is, what is the dimensions here?
This is a C243. This is probably 34 in length, one of the widest bats you could have.
But still not the widest bat.
No, I'll show you my bat, which was the widest bat you can have. So we have Johnny Bench, we got Hank Aaron, we got Barry Larkin, Sammy Sosa. We've got Eric Davis, Darryl Strawberry, and Gary Sheffield, some of the greatest hitters I ever played with or against. Obviously, I idolize both Johnny Bench and Hank Aaron. Hank Aaron, I think this Louisville Slugger's made of hickory. I'm not sure.
It's a different color for all people. It's like a darker shade of brown. So
the difference in these bats is there's not a lot of difference. They're all about 34 in length. They're all about either 33 or 32 in ounces. Barry Larkin, but here's the difference. They're all different sizes and shapes. So this is why I wanted to bring up Kirby Puckett. Probably 5'10", 240 pounds. Hall of Famer, one of the greatest players I ever played against, right? And so he even shaved the bat, even after it was made, so he'd get more whip action. And what I'm describing.
Well, what he's doing, so it's an all black bat, and I even asked, was this from like wearing his hands down? Like, no, he shaved it down.
So he shaved this down on purpose. And I'm going to show you by John. So watch how I swing right here. So as I'm swinging like a golf club, as it's coming through, this bends a little bit. So he's trying to hit 95 miles an hour. The bat is bending, and there's some give. It's called forgiveness. So if he hits it here above the label or he hits it to here, this is the 4 inches of sweet spot right here that every hitter is trying to hit. Now, here's the one thing I want to stress. These men, the greatest players to ever play in the major leagues, have practiced this for thousands upon thousands, like golfers, like tennis, like a guitarist. To try to make it seem like this bat right there, that torpedo, is going to make you as good as them is a fallacy. That's not true. You have to practice. So the best part about this conversation we're having right now, go ahead, get your kid that bat. But if he doesn't swing it 100 times a day, if he doesn't hit off a tee 100 times a day, if he doesn't take some soft toss underhand 100 times a day like you would do with tennis, even I do this with my daughter in lacrosse, if you don't practice, you will never be the best. You have to practice. So but here's the psychological part of the game. First of all, you got to pitch recognition. Not easy. Johnny Bench has been on the show multiple times. I'll get Johnny Bench to talk about his career. He looked curveball first.
Very skinny bat, too, by the way, Johnny Bench.
So Johnny Bench would be up there at the plate thinking in his mind, I'm looking for an off-speed pitch, which is exactly what Eugenio Suarez hit off of Mark Leiter last night. He went up there looking for his best pitch. Was this a curveball or a forkball? He got it. He barely hit it out, but he still got enough to win the game. That's the whole point here. All of these guys were the best for a reason, that they were able to recognize pitches, to look at Nolan Ryan or look at a Charlie Liebrandt that threw whatever, or Tom Candiotti that threw knuckleballs, and every guy was different. But to them, their job was to go out and put the ball in play. Here's the problem with this Torpedo Bat, and getting back to the Torpedo Bat. This bat is not forgiving. If you hit it at the end of the bat, you're going to hit a lot more ground balls. Now, again, engineers that make these bats at Taters, the Vargas family, Freddie Sr., Freddie Jr., they make the bats. It's all mathematically equated. That's how they make these bats. So I'm going to take the trainer. This bat, and I'm going to get off mic for a second.
Getting the black trainer, which this is different because this is like all barrel. It looks like it's more of a slow pitch softball bat because the barrel lasts longer through the thing. It's obviously not legal in Major League Baseball, but explain, what is this bat used for and why did they develop it in the first place?
It's actually legal.
It is legal.
This is a 32 40-ounce bat. My 15U, 16U team swings this in the cage to get out in front of the ball, to hit right here on the sweet spot, but they'll hit it here a lot. They'll hit it here a lot. They all have to, but this builds up their arm strength. It builds up their wrists and all of the strength in here that it takes to be a good hitter. Then they get like a 28, 29-ounce metal bat, and boy, they can whip it. And that's what I'm trying to teach these 15, 16U players. This is what these trainers are. Now, the Toronto Blue Jays, and this is a plug for Tater. They have Tater bats with them up in Toronto, and their major leaguers swing this. This is how they're training. So you can go from this to this or that. It's whatever your preference is. So the distinction of every one of these bats is they're a little different in the weight, in the circumference of them. Let's go down a little bit. Go down here. Let's grab Gary Sheffield, one of the greatest hitters of all time, over 500 home runs. There's a lot of home runs here, by the way, between Hank Aaron,
lots,
Sammy Sosa, Gary Sheffield. You've got Eric Davis. You got Darryl Strawberry, one of the greatest players that I ever played against, one of the greatest, 6'6". So you have a guy who's 5'10" in Kirby Puckett to 6'6" Darryl Strawberry. Okay, this is a 35-ounce bat. This is an absolute monster bat, and Gary Sheffield used to flick it so much. But here's the thing, that I don't care if you have a torpedo bat and you hand it to Gary Sheffield. Gary Sheffield did, and I played with him with the Marlins in '96. He would do 1,000 crunches with 100 pounds to build up the dexterity in his forearms and in his wrists. That's one of the things that set Gary apart. Besides the hand-eye coordination and all the other great stuff, the pitch recognition. He hit 42 home runs that year. I was blessed to get the bat from him because, as I told this story in the first segment of the day, Gary doesn't give out anything. Gary had 20 dozen bats, and he would take 6 of the best, and those would be his prized possessions for as long as they would last. And here's the last thing about Tater bats. Talking to Freddie Vargas Sr. yesterday, they're trying to build the best bats. So it's not just about a torpedo bat or like the Barry Larkin model or any of these Louisville Sluggers. We've got Rawlings in here. We've got a Rawlings here. We've got this Sticks, which was Gary Sheffield's bat company. You've got different companies, but they're all put on a lathe and they're all made to specifications for these guys. So now look at this one. This one's a cup. That takes off about an ounce or two from the bat. But if it hits off of here,
we're talking top of the bat right now.
Top of the bat. So that's the thing we talked about with the torpedo. So the torpedo, it may survive. This will blow up the bat. It will break it.
Having the cup in the end just to save some ounces but still have the same length.
And that's my point, because anytime you change the diameter in this one piece of wood, which is legal, one piece of wood can't be more than 2.61 in how it is around the edge. Mine actually would be legal today. So
267, by the way.
Mine is a B267, which is 2.67, which would be illegal, but I used it because I wanted to bunt. So I wanted the biggest surface area right here. But once you start taking off some of the end, once you can't cup that bat, by the way. You cannot cup a torpedo bat. So anytime you take that off of there to make it lighter, it weakens the bat. So again, that Torpedo Bat is weakened here. It's weakened here because you've pushed mass this way. So yes, I agree that the MIT stuff is great. The analytics stuff is great. But it's basically a less of a shot of hitting the ball square on that bat than any of these other bats. These guys, the reason Kirby's in the Hall of Fame, Johnny's in the Hall of Fame, they hit home runs off the end of the bat. They actually broke bats, and it would still go out. You have more of a chance of hitting the ball squarely with these other bats than that bat. And
the Torpedo.
The Torpedo. So I think the lesson that we learn here is, yes, that is cool. It's like the new axe handles that they have out. And if you don't know what an axe handle is, look at Peter Alonso's bat handle. Look at Jeff McNeil's bat handle. There's a bunch of them around the major leagues, but it's kind of a niche. It's whatever's comfortable. It's whatever's comfortable because your craft is trying to hit me. My craft is not allowing you to hit me. So, the 13 years I was a pro, everything I thought about is how do I get you to hit a ground ball off the end of the bat? How do I break your bat? How do I pop it back up to my infielders, with runners in scoring position? That was my thought process. So now, like we just talked to Kevin Kernan, this is going around every clubhouse right now. How do I beat this bat in somebody's hand? Right. How do I beat the hitter with that bat? And that's the bottom line here. So, to make it seem like using that bat is going to make you as good as Kirby Puckett is ridiculous. Making it seem like, so Darryl Strawberry, obviously one of the greatest hitters that I ever played against, 6'6", swung this thing like it was an absolute toothpick.
What is this dimension?
This dimension, I'm going to say it's a real skinny bat. Look at how skinny that is.
Yeah, I noticed this with Hank Aaron's too.
So very skinny. I love it. Straw signed it himself and on here, besides over here. But it's really skinny. So it's more whip. So again, when Straw would be coming through, the bat is actually flaring out. Right. And when he makes a connection, like with a golf club, it carries through. I saw him hit a home run off one of our guys in Montreal. Actually, it wasn't against us. It was against somebody else, and he hit it over the top of the Montreal. He hit a home run against us. The people in the upper deck at Shea Stadium were looking up at the ball. I've never seen somebody hit a baseball as far as Darryl Strawberry. So, again, you could have given him the Torpedo Bat, and if he hit it perfectly in that big bulging spot there, he might have jacked it as far as any of these other home runs. But this is what made him comfortable. This is not what made him great. Okay, all of these guys became great because of tens of thousands of hours of practice and hundreds of thousands of swings and soft tosses. Like I've told you this story. I played with Frank Thomas, and Walt Riniak was our batting coach. And before every game, and Frank's a Hall of Famer. I couldn't find his bat. There's a bunch of bats I'll bring in at another time. And all he would do is he actually moved his back foot instead of his front foot. You got to watch him. It's one of the craziest things I've ever seen. But that's how Frank hit. He would gyrate his hips, but his back foot would flail, and he'd still kill the ball. That was something that Walt Riniak, who actually worked with Wade Boggs, taught him. And they would do this soft toss. And this is why I'm a student of the game. I would watch and be like, how am I going to get these guys out? They work so damn hard at their craft. They're so good at their craft. And then, and to top it all off, so let me just go back to 1990 for a second. Go to the All-Star game. This is the Bash Brothers. This is Juan Gonzalez, Cecil Fielder. We're playing at Wrigley. And nobody that I'd seen on the Cubs or my Reds had ever hit a ball across the street. Never touched the rooftops. Playing with the Cubs or at Wrigley for the All-Star game. Every one of the guys in the starting lineup for the All-Star team was hitting it on the rooftops across the street. Think about that for a second. You're a major league pitcher, absolutely melting on the. I'm sitting in the bench going, we got to try to get these guys out. I honestly, I got smaller that day, and so I laugh at the fact that the Torpedo Bat's another bat. It's just another bat, and wielded by, I don't care if it's Aaron Judge or Jazz Chisholm. They still got to practice. They still got to do all this work, and that's what I don't want kids that are 8 years old, 10 years old thinking there's a shortcut. There are no shortcuts. Right. You have to work hard. You have to put in the hours. I tell my 16U team, put in the time when you're not on the field. Go home, swing in front of a mirror, swing in your garage. If your mom or your dad, I mean, there's so many great stories. It's like Derek Jeter's mother used to throw like stuff to him. You had guys like Bryce Harper's dad used to throw sunflower seeds and bottle caps to him.
Cubans are playing the bottle cap game. They don't even have baseball.
Yeah, Todd Helton's father would tell him, "You better not hit my boat." So that's how he learned to hit to the left side. So think about all this kind of stuff. These guys put in the work to make it seem like somebody reinvented a bat. No, you can't reinvent hard work, and that's how these guys became the greatest players I ever played against.
The other thing, when we were looking at bats before the show started, and I've said this a couple of times because of the whole torpedo conversation, and even not with you, with other people, it's like, man, we thought these guys were idiots, but they're pretty damn smart with like wood and like physics and stuff. And like they didn't graduate college.
No, but
and then you say that's what's pissing me off.
Well, yeah, I mean, Ron Darling went to Yale. There's other guys that went to Stanford. There's some really smart guys that I played with. But the one thing that these guys all had in common was they loved their bats.
Yeah.
They loved their bats. I wasn't allowed to breathe on their bats, so it was not easy. I'll bring it in. Gary Templeton's bat is as skinny as the bat handle. It looked like a Ty Cobb model, but it was really skinny. And you'll enjoy this. So I was twisted when I gave up my first hit to Gary Templeton. I asked him to sign a bat for me. When I gave up my first home run, I asked Tim Raines, "Can I have your autograph on this bat?" And they were like, "Dude, I just hit a home run off you yesterday."
I do the same thing.
Yeah, so I mean, I'm just kind of twisted that way. I'm like, it'd be cool for strikeout and all that. I don't care. I'm supposed to do that. But the dude who hit a home run off me, I was like, I'm impressed. Tim Raines, you hit a home run off me. Can I have your bat? Hell yeah. Yeah, so I mean, that's what this is all about, man. This is some of the greatest time of my life. To make it seem though that any of these guys, including this guy,
Sammy Sosa.
Yeah, by the way, I'm going to give you this bat.
No, you are not. No way, dude. No, you are not. I can't.
Listen, I was going to give this to you anyway.
Oh, man.
But you are the biggest. You are the biggest Cubs fan.
All right.
You'll love this bat more than I will.
Oh, my God. I can't believe you're doing this. This is going to make me cry, man. This is awesome.
And it's small, isn't it?
Yes, I almost don't believe that he really used that in a game. Oh, my God, man. All right, let's talk something that was interesting at the beginning of the show. We got a little bit of time. The grain. Tell everybody, what people are looking for when they have a wooden bat. They're a professional baseball player. What about the grain that is so special?
Okay, so the old ash bats. And by the way, I didn't even bring this up. The new bats made by Tater or anybody else is maple and birch. I didn't even know about birch until Monday when they made me the Torpedo Bat at Tater down in Waterbury, by the way. Great bat maker. By the way, they're now in Cheshire. But they'll make you any bat, not just the wood bats. Now they're even getting into metal. But so here, on an ash bat, you can see the grains. They go the length of the bat. It's one piece. And like a 6-grain bat would be like a gamer. This is like 10 or 12 grains. So, of course, they gave it to a pitcher. They're not going to give me good bats.
So it's most likely to break, or it's not going to have as much pop if it has this many grains in it.
Let me describe that. So as I'm pitching and you hit it, you don't want to hit it on the label. So the label would be up or the label would be back because this is the weakest part of the bat now.
You taught me that like 2 days ago.
So in batting practice, I would always hit right here. And I was trying to teach you about boning the bats. This is a gamer. It's been boned.
All right, how do I bone a bat?
Okay, so they would have like a cow bone, like a leg bone, and it would be bolted to a table in the back. And these guys, and there's another way to do it too. You could go in the bathroom sink and rub your bat as hard as you could on a sink. And so the guys would do it either way. But you go in the back. And to try to keep these grains from splitting away from each other, they would grind them down on the bat. And so where's Sheffield? So Sheffield, you guys could feel it. You could feel how hard is this right here?
Yeah. Yeah, it looks like it's triple lacquered.
Oh, it's just probably 20 coats of lacquer that they sink on these bats. But to my point is so he had his label up, and he basically, this is one of his BP bats. He would sit there and grind on that cow bone until he felt like, okay, this is hard, and I could get like 10, 20, however at bats I can get off it before it flakes away and splits, or it breaks right here. So that's, like I told you, they love their bats. Like Kirby did all this work himself. I mean, this is the bat. So this
shaving down the paint and basically making it as skinny as he possibly can on the handle.
I have one American League save. It came against the Twins at the Metrodome. And this was the bat. I get goosebumps because he's gone. Rest in peace. This was the bat that I had him fly out for the last out of the game.
Awesome.
Okay, I faced him once. I got him out. He came over. He goes, I know you want a bat. So I figured this one has kind of memories for both of us. And honestly, it touches me because, again, the love he put in this bat, the pine tar that he put on that, the time he took to take a tool and shave this down so it was perfect for Kirby Puckett to swing, that's what this is all about. It's personal to these guys. It isn't, oh, hey, you just made me this. You could make 100 of these, and Jazz Chisholm's going to pick one. And the rest, I'm not going to say aren't that great. You could use them in BP. You could sign them, give them away, whatever. These guys, like I said, if it's got 6 grains or less, the maple, these guys are, so you could see the grains right here, how few there are on this bat. It's like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 7 grains. And this is what these men make millions of dollars doing because, like you were saying, listen, some of these bats are like ridiculously heavy. This is so top heavy. This is like a 34-ounce bat that a 5'8", 5'10" guy is swinging and is a Hall of Famer. And he's trying to whip around on my 99. He's going outside 99, trying to hit the other way. He's trying to hit my 92 slider. I mean, think about that. From my perspective, I'm like, nobody can hit me. Right. From his perspective, he's like, I have to hit this guy. In order for us to win, we have to hit this guy. So, and I'm proud of some stuff. Like my batting average against for my whole career, because I'm a numbers guy, it's 198. I felt when I was in the minor leagues, when I get to the big leagues, if I get you out 8 out of 10 times, I'm going to stay in the major leagues. That's for my career for 7 years. That's what I did. The home runs, I faced almost 2,000 hitters, including the World Series. I gave up 27 home runs. I'm most proud about that stuff, and the walks. I didn't give up a lot of walks. But for me, to face a guy like this, I idolize these guys. When you're facing Strawberry, when you're facing Mike Schmidt, when you're facing all these Hall of Famers, in your brain, you're like, how am I going to get this guy out? But that's your job. You have to get them out. And so when you're watching Aaron Judge, I have so much respect for Aaron because the guy said, why aren't you using the bat? That'd be saying like, to Paige Beckers, why do you shoot that way? To Steph Curry, why do you shoot that way? Why Larry Bird? I just watched this whole thing on Larry. Why do you shoot like that with the ball over that? I mean, you're belittling somebody that's put in tens of thousands of hours of work to be the best at their position. Like I said, I didn't know Johnny Bench looked curveball. I told you about Hank Aaron because I idolized that guy. Did you know he had 240 stolen bases? Did you know he had 3,700 hits? Did you know he won 3 Gold Gloves? This guy was one of the first 5-tool players, but you only know him because he hit 755 home runs. So that's what hurts me internally because all of these guys, like 500 home runs right here, 500 home runs right here. I think most home runs as a catcher right there, 755 home runs right there. Think about these bats right here, if they could talk, and the people that would swing them. So it's not about making a certain size or shaped bat. It's about all of the effort that these guys put in. And even going back to here, this is why I love these dudes. Like Eric Davis, this is one of the most underrated guys. Both of these guys battled colon cancer. Eric did it while he was a player. He came back with the Orioles after colon cancer. And he's still one of my best friends. He's still one of the greatest people I've ever met.
They all do seem like extensions of themselves.
You nailed it. It's my glove and the ball were an extension of me. These bats were just another part of these people's bodies, and they had to go out there and do what they did, and they did it well. Kirk, do we got to go?
Yeah, we've blown way. Bat chat. All right, Dibbles and Bits where we can return.
84 eastbound, still with the